I come to you with steady wings and a clear bell of light, carrying a message wrapped in both invitation and mystery. Listen with the soft part of your heart. This is a tender forecast shaped less like a rigid map and more like a hand held out to guide you into a hidden garden. There is someone whose path will touch yours in a way that changes the cadence of your days. Someone who will, quietly and with a kind of deliberate humility, become the person who stands beside you as spouse. The approach of this meeting is not noisy. It arrives with the hush of early morning and the surety of a tide that knows its time. Pay attention to where your life is steadying itself, to the small rituals you keep, and to the work you move toward with a mix of dedication and gentle persistence. In those ordinary acts lie the clues. This person's profession will often surprise you because it is clothed in practicality and service rather than glamour. They are the kind of person the world leans on without always naming them. They work in a field that requires both skill and a devotion to process. A craftsperson of systems, of care, of structure. They might be found where attention to detail meets care for people's livelihood, perhaps in medicine that is humble and consistent, in education where foundations are laid, in health services that mend quietly, or in fields of public service that keep communities functioning. They could also work in trades or technical vocations, in places where hands and knowledge come together to make something reliable and necessary. Whatever the title, the anchor of their work is usefulness paired with integrity. You will notice their humility first. They do not enter rooms seeking applause. Instead, they arrive with ink on their hands from late night work, with a bag of practical solutions, with eyes that catalog what needs doing and then quietly do it. There is a simplicity to their ethics that will comfort you. They keep promises, they show up on time. They make space for others without a plea for recognition. In the earliest encounters, you may mistake this steadiness for ordinariness. Later, you will come to recognize it as the rare solidity that relationships need. This person's career has taught them discipline and reliability. Those lessons translate into a devotion that is not dramatic but is deep. Their manner is not loud. Listen instead for clarity in speech and a deliberate kindness in how they answer questions. They are a listener by practice, not only by inclination. If your heart bears the habit of speaking aloud what it fears, they will receive those confessions without alarm and with practical tenderness. They are the kind of person who gives gifts that are useful and thoughtful. A warm blanket on a chilly night, a carefully chosen book, a recipe converted to your taste. There is an economy of sentiment in them that values substance over show. The romance that grows between you will be slow to flame, but profound in its fuel. It is not a firework burst. It is a hearth built over evenings of conversation, shared tasks, and mutual patience. Theirs is the sort of love that folds itself into laundry, into joint planning, into shared weathering of small crises that pass like seasons. When you feel the world's edges fraying, this person will be the one whose presence restores the shape of your day. Their vocational rhythm, early starts, late finishes, methodical problem solving, will shape the way you learn intimacy, steady, incremental, suffused with acts that say, I am here more than I feel intensely. There will be moments when the secrecy hinted at in this message feels like a shadow of worry. Let me dispel misconception. The secrecy is not the result of shame or deception. It is the soft privacy that two people create as they protect the tender beginnings of what they are forming. Sometimes the world makes premature declarations. Sometimes attention before readiness fractures the fragile. This pairing will choose discretion at first because they have learned to be careful with what is meaningful. They honor what grows and do not parade it before it is ripe. Respect the pace they offer. Understand that sometimes quiet is a form of devotion. This person's hands speak of their life. The weathered knuckles of someone who works with tools or care, the calluses of someone who has labored in service, the steady clasp of someone who has held responsibility as an ordinary offering. You will be drawn to small indicators of their integrity, the neat way they fold a receipt, the care in their handwriting, the habit of keeping needed things in the right place. Observe how they relate to their colleagues, to elders, to children. You will see patience, a procedural empathy that patiently begins where others might grow impatient. These patterns are the scaffolding on which love can safely mount. In intimacy, they are practical and tender in measured balance. They will show love by building, by maintaining, by ensuring the roofs over daily joys remain sturdy. This is someone who will remember the little things that speak your language, the way you like your tea, the small anxieties that flicker when a calendar is heavy, the exact cadence of the phrase that comforts you when the world presses. And when the trials come, their first instinct is to be useful, to make lists, to find solutions, to sit with you while the problem is untangled. There will also be a steady humor that surfaces when you least expect it, a dry joke about the chaos of life, a small, shared laugh that becomes its own secret dialect. They will likely carry values rooted in responsibility, in community, and in the dignity of honest work. If they are part of a profession tied to service, they will feel the moral weight of that calling. This will inform how they love. They may, at times, present a reserved front, perhaps because their job has taught them to compartmentalize. But do not mistake reserve for distance. Beneath it lives a capacity for fierce protection. They will shelter you with pragmatic tenderness, not with flamboyance. Their promises will often be kept in ways you can count on. Bills paid on time, appointments kept, calls returned, small emergencies attended with competence rather than drama. There is a seasonality to when you will meet. September suggests a time of harvest, of cooling air, of harvest festivals, and the return to both routines and the heart's quiet projects. Think of September as a month when the heat has passed and steady work can begin again with renewed clarity. This symbolism matters. The meeting will have the tone of a new but mature beginning. If your life currently includes transitions, jobs ending, studies winding down, family rhythms readjusting, these are fertile soils. Be willing to clear a plot of your heart so that the seed of this meeting finds purchase. September, with its soft light, will make room for intimacy to deepen as the days shorten and nights invite closeness. You may wonder how to prepare your spirit for this encounter. Begin by accepting the present shape of your life as worthy of witness. Befriend your patterns, both luminous and shadowed. Cultivate small practices that steady you. Keep your calendar with honest boundaries. Tend your home with care. Nurture friendships that sustain rather than deplete. Become the person who can receive steadiness without needing to test it with unnecessary drama. Practice saying what you need calmly and hearing the needs of others without rushing to fix them. These practical interior skills will make you a magnetic counterpart for someone whose life is built on steady service. There is also a movement within you that will be required, a willingness to trust process. This person will not be the one to sweep you into theatrical declarations. Their love will be revealed through cumulative acts. Implore your patience to partner with your heart's yearnings. Do not mistake the modesty of their approach for lack of depth. Their love grows like ivy around a wall, quietly persistent, slowly unfolding until the trellis itself is transformed. If you can honor the slow accretion of gestures, you will find a reservoir of intimacy that carries through years. Family and background will matter to them, not because they are bound by tradition blindly, but because they value lineage and responsibility. They will likely hold family obligations with seriousness and will expect the same honesty from a partner. If you are entering a relationship with them, expect occasions where choices are made with an eye to legacy, financial prudence, careful planning, attention to how actions ripple outward. This does not mean the absence of romance. Rather, romance is folded into the architecture of a life well constructed. There will be practical planning and poetic gestures in balance. Trust will be cultivated slowly, but once earned, it will be deep and resilient. They will show a readiness to invest in the long view. If you offer them a candid account of who you are, your fears, your small embarrassments, the parts you keep hidden, they will receive you without theatrical moralizing. They will create a space for repair and for the gradual building of trust. Do not be surprised if their first expressions of affection come as acts of service and reliability rather than lyrical professions. Learn to recognize devotion when it comes as a steady hand rather than a soaring verse. In the early months, keep your courage. Enter the relationship with honesty about your own needs and with compassion for the pace at which this person moves. If they reveal small contradictions, perhaps a difficulty in showing emotion in public or a tendency to retreat into work, meet those with a curiosity that seeks to understand rather than correct. This person's inner life may have been shaped by responsibilities that required the tempering of visible feeling. Patient dialogue will illuminate why they act as they do. There is a promise, however, that is vital to hold. Love that is built on careful craft and mutual respect endures the storms that often erode more dramatic beginnings. The kind of marriage that forms from such a match is likely to be one where quiet rituals, shared breakfasts, weekly planning sessions, the tending of a small garden become sacred. These are the invisible small acts that, compounded, create a life both practical and luminous. In time, you will understand that the secret of their profession is not merely in what they do for a living, but in how their work animated the very way they love, methodically, responsibly, and with a devotion that becomes more beautiful the longer you watch it. Receive this message as both invitation and preparation. Open your life to the ordinary miracles that accumulate when two steady people decide to make a home together. Keep watch for the small signals, a careful gesture of help, the way someone remembers the details of your ordinary day, the quiet competence that becomes a kind of sanctuary. In September, the season of subtle change, be ready to say yes to gentle beginnings. Trust the hush, trust the craft. Allow your heart to be surprised by affection that arrives not with trumpet, but with the soft certainty of a hand finding yours in the dark and refusing to let go. I remain with you, carrying forward the thread of this message, for your heart is still listening, and it is in the listening that the mystery begins to take shape. When I spoke of someone who will quietly step into your life with the steadiness of their profession and the humility of their character, I meant to awaken your awareness, to sharpen your attention so that you do not miss what seems at first so ordinary that the world might overlook it. This is not the story of a whirlwind romance that dazzles and burns out, but the unfolding of a union meant to sustain, to endure, to be hidden at first like seeds beneath soil, and then later revealed as a harvest that feeds more than just yourselves. This person comes cloaked in simplicity, yet within them runs a strength born of daily commitment. Their profession teaches them order and service, the quiet honoring of schedules, the solving of problems, the offering of care. It may be medicine, it may be teaching, it may be a trade, it may be service in public work. Whatever the form, the essence is this. Their hands and mind are trained to make life better for others, and in that, their heart has been trained for you. Where others seek grand gestures, they will seek constancy. Where others seek to impress, they will seek to provide. Where others build castles of promises, they will build foundations of actions. The secrecy that surrounds this marriage is not a shadow to fear. Rather, it is a veil of protection. The world often intrudes upon tender beginnings, demanding explanations, demanding spectacle. But this love will grow first in silence, in privacy, in sacred discretion. It is as though heaven itself is wrapping its wings around the two of you until your roots are deep enough that no storm can topple what is being grown. Do not mistake this secrecy for absence. It is the silence of dawn before the birds begin to sing, the silence of soil before the shoots break through. Behind it, life is stirring, and soon enough it will be revealed. When you first sense their presence, it may come in subtle ways. A conversation that lingers longer than usual, a smile that feels familiar even though it is new, the quiet recognition that this person sees you, not just your surface, but your needs, your weariness, your hidden hopes. It will not arrive with lightning, but with recognition. In their eyes, you will feel at home. In their voice, you will hear trust. And though the world around you may continue in its noise and chaos, There will be a stillness between you that feels like sanctuary. Be mindful of how they work. Their profession is not merely a means to earn, it is a way of serving. Notice the dedication with which they give themselves to tasks that others might find mundane. Notice the reverence they hold for responsibility. These patterns are the clearest language of their love. It is not likely they will shower you with empty flattery. Instead, they will show up when you call. They will fix what is broken, listen when you are weary, and create a space in which you can breathe without fear of judgment. Their love will be demonstrated in how they live, not just in what they say. You may ask, why September? What makes this month the threshold of such a union? September is the season of turning, when heat softens into cool air, when harvests are gathered, when work bears fruit. Spiritually, it is a month of balance, a meeting of past efforts and future hopes. The one destined for you carries this same energy. They arrive not in haste, not in immaturity, but in a readiness born of experience. They have lived, they have learned, they have carried burdens that have shaped their hands into one strong enough to hold yours. And in September, your paths align at the right point, not too early, not too late, but in the ordained rhythm of divine timing. This person's love will not demand of you constant performance. With them, you can be weary without fear of abandonment. You can be imperfect without fear of rejection. You can lay down masks that the world has required, because they do not seek spectacle, they seek truth. In their profession, they have seen what is fragile in humanity. In their heart, they have chosen to honor what is real. This makes them gentle with you, even when they are strong with the world. They will not need you to be more than you are, because to them, your presence is already enough. Prepare your heart by softening your expectations of how love must look. It may not arrive with flowers and dramatic words, but with simple gestures, a call at the right time, an offer of help you did not even ask for, a patience that holds space when you falter. These are the languages you must learn to recognize. Do not dismiss them because they do not sparkle. They are the steady flames that do not die in wind. And once you receive them, you will realize that this kind of love is richer than fleeting excitement. It is the kind of love that builds a life. There will be challenges, as in all unions. Their profession may demand of them long hours, unexpected calls, responsibilities that weigh heavily. At times you may feel unseen because their service pulls them outward. But remember this, the very qualities that sometimes make them tired are also the qualities that make them faithful. Patience will be your ally. If you honor their dedication rather than resent it, they will in turn honor your need for presence and balance. Together you will learn the art of giving without depletion, of supporting without losing yourselves. Marriage with this person is not the culmination of a fairy tale, but the beginning of a partnership that is sacred in its ordinariness. It is two lives interwoven, not in grand palaces, but in kitchens, in shared responsibilities, in nights of laughter that come after days of work. It is not secrecy born of fear, but discretion born of reverence. For love that is real does not need constant validation from the crowd. It grows quietly, roots deepening until the tree bears fruit for generations. So be attentive, beloved one. Walk into September with eyes open, not for spectacles, but for the steady presence that feels like home. The one who will marry you will not shout their arrival, but they will anchor you in ways you never imagined. Trust that the divine has woven this moment with precision, and that when it comes, you will not need to chase it. You will simply recognize it. Receive now this closing breath of counsel and benediction, woven from the steadiness that has accompanied every line before. As the story tilts toward completion and the life you are preparing for draws nearer, take these final words as both compass and comfort. Love that arrives in the quiet is a great teacher. It asks you to cultivate patience, to honor ritual, and to be brave enough to be ordinary. In the days leading into September and in the long months after, let small practices become scaffolding for the life you will build together. Keep your promises to yourself as sacred. Tend your health with gentle discipline. Guard your joy as you would a fragile bird. These are not indulgences. They are the soil in which a marriage of steady hands will flourish. When the meeting finally unfolds, move with tenderness toward the unknown. There will be moments of surprise and times when your maps fail you. Such is the nature of human entanglement. Resist the urge to script every outcome. Allow the narrative to surprise you, because one of the gifts of a quiet love is the capacity to astonish in small, truthful ways. Let curiosity be your mode. Ask questions not to fix, but to understand. Let listening become an act of devotion. When you respond, choose clarity and compassion rather than assumption or hurried judgment. These small choices will create a safety that invites truth and deepens intimacy. Honor the ordinary gestures. The marriage that grows from service-oriented professions is often sustained by cumulative care. Shared chores done without complaint, the gentleness of a dinner left warm on a tired evening, the ritual of a good night text that says simply, "I'm here." Do not undervalue these actions. They are the mortar in the house of your life. Celebrate them. Make an altar of routine by naming it. For example, a weekly planning date, a monthly review of finances and dreams, a small Sunday ritual that belongs only to you two. Rituals are the frames that hold the painting. They make the commonplace sacred. Guard against the erosion of tenderness by busyness. The work that shapes this person's character can also consume them. Its gravity can make presence thin. Create guardrails together. Agree on time that is protected for the two of you, even when schedules are violent. These need not be grand. 10 unbroken minutes every morning or a shared cup of tea in the evening will suffice. Consistency matters more than extravagance. Protecting these times is an act of mutual reverence and a practical form of fidelity. Keep your language soft but honest. When you need more presence, say so plainly. When you feel unseen, offer a picture of what would make you feel held. Your capacity to request what you need without moralizing will teach your partner how to love you more effectively. Likewise, learn the art of receiving, not as a moral achievement, but as an opening. Allow their offers of help, even if small or imperfect, to be received with gratitude. This exchange, vulnerable asking and humble receiving, is the heartbeat of sustained partnership. Remember the power of apologies that are quick and sincere. Pride will sometimes want to keep score. Habit will sometimes make wounds deepen by silence. Learn to name your missteps quickly and repair them with clarity. A simple, honest apology often prevents the slow drip of resentment that undermines trust. Likewise, practice forgiveness as a daily discipline. Forgiveness is not a single heroic act, but a series of small choices to let go, to move forward, to choose connection over the accumulation of grievances. Be willing to carry separate dreams while also carrying shared ones. This person will value responsibility, and often that will look like careful planning and conservative choices. Do not mistake prudence for a lack of imagination. In fact, the most enduring partnerships hold both individual growth and shared projects. Keep dreaming personally, cultivate an art, pursue friends, keep habits that sustain your individuality. Then return to the shared table of planning to fold those individual dreams into the architecture of your life together. Independence married to interdependence makes a resilient home. When tensions arise about family, finances, or vocation, treat them as invitations to practice being the adults you are becoming. Money conversations will be practical, and that is healthy. They are not the enemy. Speak plainly about values and plans. Let your decisions be informed by shared priorities rather than reactive anxieties. If family obligations press on boundaries, negotiate them with clarity, compassion, and mutual respect. Remember that compromise is not a zero-sum game. It is the dance that yields a workable choreography for two lives. Nurture tenderness with humor. Shared laughter is one of the most underrated medicines in marriage. It dissolves fear and creates a common language that is gentle on the heart. Learn each other's idioms. Cultivate private jokes that only you understand. And let silliness be an allowed and honored part of your life. Laughter will not solve every problem, but it will lighten burdens and make resilience easier to sustain.